The sun was high, shimmering across the wide expanse of my ranch. I had just drained the pool for cleaning and repairs, something I did every fall before the weather turned. It was routine, part of the upkeep that came with owning hundreds of acres and a ranch house with more square footage than the entire HOA clubhouse down the road. Of course, the HOA couldn't leave me alone. As I stood on the deck, coiling up the last of the hoses, I heard the shrill voice before I saw her. Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA. She was standing at the edge of my property, phone in hand, filming furiously like she was documenting a crime scene. "You can't just drain a pool like that," she screeched. "You're violating community water standards. That's a reportable offense." I didn't even look up. "Karen, I don't live in your HOA. This is my land, my pool, my well water. You don't have authority here." But Karen was never one to listen. She dialed 911 right there, waving her arms like I was a terrorist. "Yes, I'd like to report an environmental crime. This man is emptying a pool illegally. He's stealing water. He's endangering our community." The dispatcher must have taken her seriously, because within minutes, a sheriff's cruiser and a city utilities inspector rolled up my drive. Karen puffed out her chest like she'd won the lottery. "Finally!" she shouted, pointing at me. "Arrest him. Fine him. Shut him down." The sheriff stepped out first. He was a man I knew well, a friend I'd trained with at the academy years ago. His eyes met mine, and he gave me a slight grin before turning to Karen. "Ma'am," he said politely, "can you explain what you think the violation is?" Karen went on a rant, spewing nonsense about HOA bylaws, community drought rules, and fines she claimed were mandatory. The city inspector finally cut in. "Wait, what's your name, sir?" I handed him my papers, deed to the land, water rights contract, and proof that my well was privately drilled and maintained under state permits. He blinked, then looked at Karen like she'd lost her mind. "Ma'am, this property is not under your HOA. In fact," he said slowly, "what you just did triggered an automatic review." Karen frowned. "What do you mean?" The inspector pulled a folded sheet from his briefcase. "HOA boards that file fraudulent environmental claims are subject to state fines. Based on this report, your HOA just triggered a penalty of $2.5 million for falsifying water violations." Karen's mouth fell open. "What? That's impossible. You can't fine us." "Oh, we can," the inspector replied calmly. "And we will. The paperwork you just filed was official. Your HOA is now liable for the penalty. Maybe next time, don't call 911 for personal vendettas." The sheriff chuckled, clapped me on the shoulder, and said, "See you at poker night, buddy." Karen collapsed onto the gravel, screaming into her phone as she called the HOA president. From the way her voice cracked, it was clear the news had hit her like a freight train. I finished coiling my hose, turned back to my sparkling empty pool, and said with a grin, "Funny thing about water, Karen, when you stir it up, sometimes you drown in the wave you created."